Hello, in this video we're going to talk about time alignment of audio and video inputs in the Raven Live video switching platform. So let's just jump in. All right, in this configuration I've already defined a bunch of audio inputs and video inputs. You can look at the videos that we've created about how to do that, but you'll see here and here we've got a bunch of video inputs and a bunch of audio inputs, but now we're going to talk about aligning them. When you think about alignment or time alignment, really alignment is a fixed entity because what we're doing is we are correcting for the processing latency of every one of these digital sources. Now, if you've been involved in digital audio and digital video, you're already aware of the fact that every digital device has latency in it because of the buffering involved when you're taking an image and converting it into a stream of pictures, or when you're taking an audio signal and converting it into a stream of samples, there's a certain amount of latency involved. Well, in audio, the latencies are oftentimes very, very short. But with video, they're quite a bit longer, sometimes in the hundreds of milliseconds long. So what we're doing when we have a multi-camera environment and we're trying to line up all of these cameras with each other so that they all would be showing the same thing at the same time if they were all looking at the same thing. We do that first, and then after that, we want to delay our audio feeds so that the audio lines up with the actual video output image. So I'll show you how to do that quickly in Raven. Now, typically, most NDI feeds have, especially from pro level equipment, their latency latency is pretty close to each other. Don't often have to move it much. But if you do have to move it, then you're going to go to the input because this is something that's global to the input. So regardless of where this input is used in a scene, and regardless of what type of feed it's used in a scene, it still is going to have to be delayed a specific amount. And so that's why we define delay processing on the input itself. So the value is right here. And based on the way Raven works, because there's buffering involved, we can either delay a signal or we can advance it slightly. And that's because Raven is receiving a bunch of frames into a buffer, and then the output from that input signal is coming out of the buffer. So there's a small window of time that Raven can kind of advance the timing of if it needs to. So an input delay, let's say that there's a particular NDI source that's just a little bit quicker than the rest, and there's a little bit lower latency than the others. And so we need to delay it by about 50 milliseconds. Well, we can do that in this window simply by typing this in. So by typing this in, what we've done is, again, this value is in seconds, and of course milliseconds, there's going to be 1,000 of them in a second. And so what we've done is we've delayed this signal by 50 milliseconds so that it aligns with the other video sources in our list. And we want to work on the video sources first before we go to the audio sources, because we want all the video sources to be aligned with each other so that we can delay the program audio feed once to whatever that video value is. I'm going to leave that and we'll just jump over here. We'll assume now that all of our video feeds are now aligned and they look like they work. A tip on how to do that, by the way, is you can have, if you pull up NDI Monitor, for example, and you connect multiple instances of it, so you can open up multiple NDI Monitor windows and connect them to all your different cameras, and you look at the output of those different cameras and you do something drastic, like say turn off the lights in the room, and you notice if all of those video feeds go to black at the same time, then they're probably already aligned with each other. But if you notice that one goes to black a little bit before the others or a little bit after the others, then you know that's the one that you need to move around to kind of line up with the rest. What I generally do is I use that trick to kind of create a rough alignment or find out which of my video sources is the largest group of which that's already aligned. And then I just kind of bring the one or two outliers into the fold with the rest. So now that we've delayed our video sources appropriately so that they're all aligned with each other, now we have to delay our audio sources. Now, if you notice in my production here, I've defined the program audio feed to be this ProPresenter audience feed. And if you go over to the input audio tab, it's this one. So now I'm going to open up the details of this. And again, when I said earlier, usually with audio, the digital audio processing is a lot faster with a lot lower latency than video processing. And this is almost universally true. So we almost always are going to have to add delay to a digital audio feed in order to delay it in time so that it can line up with the video coming from the cameras. So I'm going to add 120 milliseconds of latency here. And so what that does is it receives the digital audio feed, but it waits for 120 milliseconds before it adds it to the mixer to combine it with the video that Raven is producing and mucks that into the actual output for your live stream. So that's a quick run through on how we align video and audio sources in Raven, and I hope you enjoyed watching this video. See you in the next one.